So we hear sustainable pace, and with this year's theme, it's a message filling up the rooms, and I hope filling up the minds and filling up the hearts. 1.83 is the number of planet Earth we need to sustain the human population today. 1.83. Closer to 5 Earth if we all like the little section of the northwest slice of the globe. And that's not sustainable. So how can we, Agile practitioners, being change enablers, tangibly create sustainable development? When you think about sustaining development, sometimes you think about being able to survive versus competition, right? We want to go beyond that just to survive, but also to thrive. I'm Ines Garcia. I'm an author. I'm an Agile and climate coach, a circular economy professional, and a biomimicry practitioner. And with all the different things, essentially what I do every day is to help organizations to deliver better value and to reduce waste. Waste of time, of effort, of finance, but also of materials and of energy. To focus on impact, to leave the place better than how we found it. When I say the place, it's the product, the people, and the planet. We know that our world is already 1.1 degrees Celsius warmer, and that's due to greenhouse emissions from human activities, right? From one species activity. And even if we look at it from this very narrow anthropocentric view, we know that climate change, what it does is undermine our health, our food security, water supply, essentially the very systems that support our life on Earth, those on which we rely to survive, let alone to thrive. Also, let's not forget that those who made the least, emitted the least, are paying the heaviest price. We are not on track to 1.5 degrees or even 2 degrees. And to ensure a livable future, we need to do a few things. One is about a deep, rapid, and sustained reductions of greenhouse gas emissions, which makes me think is how can we adapt and shorten feedback loops so that we know if we're going in the right direction or not. We need to have greater focus on adaptation so that we can be more fit in existence under the conditions of an evolving environment. We need emphasis on equitable solutions and scaling up systems that also includes finance organically and swiftly, right? Applying system thinking. We need enhanced technology and international cooperation because we know that is better together. Now, the thing is that we have feasible and effective options available now. The question is, are you willing to be part of the solution? So today in the session, what we are about to uncover is the pathway of circular economy in an agile context. So let's level up the playing field. What is circular economy? Or even, what is economy? Economy is careful management of available resources. Careful management of available resources. Now, depletion of aquifers or fisheries is not a careful management of available resources. We have accustomed ourselves to the traditional linear economic model. Traditional, we're only talking about a few decades. This linear economic model follows a pattern of take, make, waste approach. That is, taking raw materials, making something with them, and then wasting it so that we can sell more. Take, make, waste. That is not sustainable. That is not an efficient management of available resources. Now, I'd imagine that most of you are involved in technology and services, and you may be thinking, well, not so much material footprint, not so much on take, make, waste. But think about energy. Think about the sources of this energy. Think about the materials of the collection, the items involved to deliver those digital and services. Did you know that there is more gold on e-waste than left on the ground? E-waste. So that's devices, things we no longer use. There is more gold in e-waste than left on the ground. Now, simply put, circular economy is an economic model that what it aims is to keep resources and materials in use for as long as possible, really moving away from that linearity, that wasteful way of thinking, to circularity. And why that matters? Well, it matters because it's a promising framework where the economic growth in itself is decoupled from environmental degradation. And circular economy, it does that by three things, essentially. The first one is about keeping those products and materials in use. Second is about reducing waste and pollution. And third is about regenerating natural systems. That's all it is. Circular economy, keep your products and materials in use, reduce waste and pollution, regenerate natural systems. Every year we dump a massive 2.12 billion tons of waste on the planet. Now, if all that waste was put on trucks, they will go around the world 24 times. And that waste is composed of construction, industrial, household waste, plastic, electronic, radioactive, sewage, and runoff waste and going into groundwater, rivers, oceans, things like fertilizers, pesticides, oil. All right, okay. We understand that we are all involved. So let's move from a sense of urgency, it's not time to waste, to a sense of agency. And I believe as Agile practitioners, we are key placed to enable businesses to be more adaptable, efficient, sustainable, right? Really there to help to reduce environmental footprint and focus on actual value impact. Right? So reduce waste, therefore boost profitability. Now, some of the common ways to shifting to a circular economy currently is achieved through multiple different ways, strategies, things like designing products for reuse and recycling. Although recycling, we probably could have a session on recycling just by itself, because out of all the different options available on a circular way of thinking, recycling is the one that is the most expensive in terms of carbon emission equivalents of all the different options. But anyway, circular economy, it can be achieved across multiple different strategies. Yes, one is designing products for reuse, recycle. Also promoting the sharing economy and implementing closed loop systems, right? Closed loop supply chain. And in essence, what it does in return is providing of opportunities for new jobs, right? Job creation or innovation. And you look at things from a different angle, opportunities arise, and the development of more sustainable and resilient communities. When we talk about P of people, it goes beyond just the customers and stakeholders, shareholders. And all these different things, right? New job creation, innovation, diversity on those jobs, the development of more sustainable and resilient communities, all those different things. It matters, and especially matters in an agile world. Now, beyond that, there are some current use cases of proven profitable business in this space. They exist today. They're running today. Now, there is information about those out there. You can also reach out if you have questions. But what I want to do now is to see it from our agile practice. So what are the different things? What are some things that you can do, that you can roll up your sleeve and apply tomorrow, test it out tomorrow? There is no time to waste. Because the hardest thing, in my opinion, with any change, with any enhancement, with any evolution, is to cross the bridge in between theoretical agreement to tangible, impactful action, moving from one side to another. And for that, what I want to show you are 3 tools. First, value stream mapping. Value stream mapping is a lean management tool, and it's essentially there to visualize the flow. And there is quite a few content out there on this, and I'm not going to go through the motions. I believe it's a very often agile practice, very commonly used. So if you're unsure, again, reach out. But now I want to focus on how can we take it up a notch. Take it up a notch for accounting for variables which improve the product, the process, and the profit. Because the standard practice of value stream mapping, it only looks at one variable to optimize. It looks at time. Now, what about if we infuse the practice and add new variables? Materials, transport, energy. How would that look like? And how to get started? First thing is very similar. You map the entire value chain. From the raw materials, from the inception, all the way through end-of-life disposal of the thing. There, you can identify areas of waste and inefficiency on the current linear process. Once you have that, once you have the inefficiency sort of spot, then what you do is apply a pound term financial value of the cost of the current loss. And also, a potential revenue opportunity. Just give it a financial value so you can account for it. Once that's done, what you do is evaluate feasibility of circular strategies, things that we talked about already, like reuse, refurbishment, recycling at each step of the value chain, right? We tend to think only start and end, but as we know, there are many opportunities in within. And therefore, you plot those opportunities to reduce waste, to extend the product lifetimes, and to recover value items. So many times, I need to return a product because it's faulty or whatever it is. And I struggle to get the manufacturer to get their own product back. They rather me chuck it. I do have interesting conversations on these matters because I care to take the moment and discuss that I do account for natural capital. So once you evaluate this feasibility of different options, opportunities of that, what you do is very similar. You sort of apply a financial value of the current natural and social capital loss. What does that look like? And then also the revenue opportunities. What does that look like? Once that, you look at expanding, right? Because we very often on value stream mapping, what we do is to look at organizational boundaries. In essence, very often what I see is within teams, perhaps stretch a bit across departments, best across the whole organization, but even better, we expand beyond those imagined organizational boundaries. So how can we expand beyond that? How can we collaborate with our suppliers, with our customers, with other stakeholders, so that we can create a closed loop system? So identify ways to optimize the flow of materials, information, energy within that value stream. So you can reduce the need for new inputs and minimize waste. Very similar to the previous steps, you sort of apply financial value to it. What's the cost, your current loss, and opportunity? Then you craft potential business, sort of circular business model. Things like leasing, remanufacturing, product as a service, so that you can expand that lifespan of products and keep them in use for as long as possible. And then you apply financial value of current natural and social capital loss and revenue opportunity. And then the last thing here is really with the mantra of continuously improving, how you monitor, how you improve that circular value stream from your current linear view. So using that value stream mapping to identify opportunities so that you can optimize further, you can innovate wider. So by extending such a tool that is in our toolbox, that is already in use, right, to include circular economy principles, as an Agile practitioners, we can help organizations to identify new opportunities to reduce waste, to be more efficient and effective, right? To create new sources of value that they were not there. And this approach can help to achieve sustainability goals whilst remaining competitive in what increasingly becoming a resource-constrained world. A few years ago, not long ago, we were struggling to find products and materials that we urgently needed to keep our population alive. And even with the ISO guidelines, I don't know if some of you have looked at it, but they have some net zero guidelines. They talked about the accounting for what is the risk of inaction, what is the cost. From brand perception to customer churn, customers leave. I change banks, I change my pensions providers, my portfolio of pensions, insurance, right? These three things actually financially, that's very good homework for you to look at. Look at your bank, look at your pension, and look at your insurance. Are you unknowingly financing deforestation or fossil fuels? And then diverting a little bit, but essentially, yes, to organizations, because the perception of brands and customers are becoming more and more clever and smart and spotting greenwashing. They will leave. Also, waste in itself, materials and energy is costly. Energy, like think about electricity supply. And also to upcoming taxes and penalties, like these things coming down the line. So for value stream mapping, I think this is a very good place to start, sort of to improve the use of such a tool we already have in place. Now, if you want to take it up another notch, it's about how can you embed regeneration of natural systems. That for me will be the next, it made sense for the next sort of level up. Now, I do understand that one needs to meet the people where they are, and too high of a jump can lose many on the way. Tool 2, which is the pestle analysis. So pestle analysis is a strategy tool used to evaluate external macro environmental factors that can impact an organization. So that's external things happening that you can't control necessarily, is going to affect you. Right? And this is super easy to be applied, and it may be already in place, depends on your organization, when you look at the product. But it's also a very good tool to help out your PO and even to craft your OKRs. And the acronym is an acronym, PESTEL. What it stands for is political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. So if we look at one at a time, political factors, what you do is evaluate the landscape, political and regulatory sort of environment, anything that can impact your product. For example, changes on labor laws or new government policies. Those things can impact from the team composition and the project delivery and also product in itself. That's one thing. Then E of economic factors. So that is about analyzing the economic conditions. For example, changes on market demand or financial constraints. All those things can also impact your project funding and an allocation of even revenue churn. S is for social. So there, what you do is evaluate trends, cultural factors, things that can even impact positively, specifically on DEI. Or, for example, changes on the work culture or team dynamics. Also, we know well that those things can impact the effectiveness on our practices. T is for technology factors. There is where you analyze advancements that can act as enablers. For example, changes in software development tools, right? We know that. Or even disruptors. I'm not going to say any names, but let's imagine a new big data text generator appears. Does that align with our vision? Can we tap into this new potential? Would that hinder us? The second E is about environmental factors. So look at advancements on materials of the sourcing of those, even downstream, right? How is the use and the end of life of the products? For example, new revenue streams from those circular service offerings we were talking about. And the L is for legal factors. What is the state of affairs? Because more and more local policies and reporting requirements are like coming, they are affecting externally. And this is happening, and more is going to happen the closer we get to 2030. 2030, not long at all, right? So penalties and taxes are coming down the line. And as well, for example, a focus on, sustainability may require changes on your supply chain, on your procurement, and on your product design. Right? So this tool really, like using this pestle analysis for Agile, essentially what it does is that helps organizations to gain a wider understanding of the external factors that can impact the implementation and the success of the products, from products to OKRs. And this analysis can inform strategic decision making, right? Data, so we can make better decisions. meta decisions so that we can help the organizations to identify opportunities of improvement, right? One thing goes with the other. And in the Handbook of Sustainable Happy Profit, I sort of cover more frames, different ways to look at stuff. What I would like to reinforce is that we, Agile practitioners, have already the tools and ways to infuse and evolve our practice. For example, this is tool 3. How can we take up a notch our retrospective? Because it's not just what we do, but how we do it, right? So you can infuse circularity and or climate in multiple different ways. You could run a planet as a stakeholder retrospective, as suggested by Marjolin Pilon. Start with a planet check-in, review the principles of design or green design, input from individuals, what's their take on the current state of affairs, where to be, then aggregate the data, right? Collect data, review the results, choose where to focus of all those results, open up options, and then choose options. Focus what you're going to try next. And these things are only 3 tools, right? Value stream mapping, pastel analysis, retrospective, out of the many in our toolbox. So if this intersection of Agile and sustainability interests you, which for me is very clear that the transition into a circular economy requires collaboration and expertise from a wide range of professionals. That's designers, engineers, supply chain specialists, waste reduction managers. So by investing in experienced subject matter expertise and supporting the professionals who are dedicating, putting time, effort, finance, right, to this cause, we can then accelerate progress towards a more sustainable tomorrow. I'm not talking about the future, about right now. So let's be part of the solution and continue to work together towards an economy that can generate abundance and benefit us all. Now, there is so much in this, and we have a ring-fence time for the session. So what I've done is prepare a bonus swag for you. So scan the QR code to access more, and that's things from the Agile Alliance Sustainability Initiative to other frames and examples and more. So get the bonus swag with the QR code, and then also tell me how it goes, right? Tell me how your experiments, tell me things that resonated. Let's close and reduce the time on the feedback loop. Now, I really want to close the session today with this thought. This is home. We must deeply understand that this is home. All our conceptual inventions that doesn't support this home to thrive as a whole are flawed. There are no boundaries. We all breathe the same air. This is our home, which is not ours alone.